From Universal Studios in Hollywood, California, it's Home and Family. Today on the show, from The Amazing Race, host Phil Kogan and this season's winners, Kelsey Gherkins and Joey Butita.
Brighten up your day, the Home and Family way.
Please welcome relationship expert Dr. Kimberly Monty. Hi. Kimberly, all right, doctor. What is it? What
does Mark say about his
No,
sex?
we're going to get to that.
Well,
We're going to get to that
right now.
What's the secret to decoding a man's facial features?
You know what? Well, it's actually really easy to decode a man's facial features and understand what that means about him in a relationship. So by the end of today, everybody in the audience and everyone at home is going to understand the 4 basic categories of face shapes for a man, what that might say about him in a relationship. We're going to give some celebrity examples of men that fall into these categories. And we're also going to do a detailed analysis of Mark and Matt's faces today. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited.
Are you trying to change the facial expression?
I just don't want her to get set on one look, because then I'm going to throw her off.
I can see you feeling a little bit nervous.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't know. I could eat a lot in one of your segments and become a round face.
No,
or
that's not going to happen. Well, you know what?
blockhead, I guess. I don't know.
Since Matt Iseman is in the other room, we're going to talk to him right now. He's going to choose another ornament from our Hallmark keep.
Well, we're here with relationship expert Dr. Kimberly Moffett. You're a little late. We already got these guys paired up. We don't need your relationship.
My job is done.
They've already found each other. But what she's going to help us out with is the science behind facial features and what they say about your man, and what they can tell us about each other. So, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
This is fascinating. Where did the whole idea, the concept come from where did it originate? Decoding facial features.
Well, actually, for thousands of years, people have actually believed that there's a connection between the way somebody looks and their personality. And it started with the ancient Greeks and then went on to some Chinese face reading. So they called it physiognomy back then. But today we have the advantage of modern science. And so now we actually know that there's a connection between someone's face shape and some of their behaviors. And as you guys know, we bring behaviors into relationships. So reading someone's face shape is actually a really fun and interesting way to find out about what they might be like in a relationship.
I'm nervous what it's going to say.
Well, what are the different types of faces that men have?
Well, there's blockhead.
Well, okay, well, we got that figured out. No, what kind?
Yeah, so it's actually really easy to read a man's face, and today I'm going to walk you through the 4 different basic face types for men. Okay. And so all of you in the audience and everyone at home will be able to understand the 4 different types by the end of the day, and maybe you can even figure out which category your partner falls into.
Okay, so the first is, well, it's close, blockhead. We're going to go square.
Square face.
And I didn't mean that he's a blockhead.
Square jaw, right?
Yes, the square face. So this face is actually really easy to recognize because it forms the general shape of a square and is just about as wide as it is long. Now, the square-faced man, some celebrity examples include Brad Pitt and Jude Law, but the defining feature of the square face is actually the prominent jaw. Now, a prominent jaw is actually an indicator of higher levels of testosterone in the body, and this same testosterone is actually responsible for certain behaviors in men. For example, aggression and a heightened ego. So, staying true to his face shape, the squared-faced man is actually the most statistically likely to cheat on his partner.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
Wait, why is the camera on me right now?
Actually, I'm happy to say that none of the 3 men here fall into this category.
Should we go to commercial now?
Yeah.
Commercial now?
All right, so now we have oblong.
So the oblong-shaped face is actually really easy to recognize as well because it forms the general shape of a rectangle. Colin Farrell and John Mayer fall into this category, and actually, Dr. Matt actually falls into this category as well.
I wish I had great hair like those guys.
And I don't know, I think you're a little nervous based on the 2 men that I just mentioned and their relationship statuses. But actually, the oblong face is almost always accompanied by an athletic and very muscular and tall physique.
What happened? She said usually.
So one of the main points for this man
He's very tall.
We're tall.
Athletic.
So these are very good-looking men. And in relationships, actually, they tend to be a little bit of a playboy. And this is because they've grown up with people, a lot of women approaching them and pursuing them for relationships, and a lot of men looking up to them in their lives. So as a result of that, they actually develop some narcissistic
I'm liking
qualities.
this segment so far.
You missed the narcissistic.
I was too busy thinking how good I was looking.
All right.
Do you hear that part?
So it might take them a little bit more time to actually settle down if they do at all.
Yeah, you know, he's like 62 and he's still not married. He's still not married. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
not
I'm
true.
And actually, Matt, I don't know the status of your relationship.
59.
No, he's a lovely, lovely man. Truly lovely.
All right,
Okay, so round.
what shape is
round.
it?
So the
Triangle?
next one is round. So celebrities who fall into this category are Elijah Wood and Zac Efron, baby-faced Zac Efron.
I know.
This shape forms the general shape of a circle and is always widest at the cheeks, so it's easy to recognize. Now, this type of man can actually expect to be babied in his relationships as well. And this is because studies have shown that people who have baby faces are actually more likely to be perceived as more innocent and naive than the general population. So in a seeming result of his being treated with such compassion and empathy by society, he may actually try to get away with a lot in a relationship as well. So he might do things that push your boundaries, but then he gives you that cute little puppy dog face, and you
Come
fall
here,
for
let me
it
make
every
you a plate
time
of
because
pasta.
he's
You're
so
fine.
cute.
Okay. All right, so
right,
now we have
Joey.
oval.
Yeah, where are we getting?
I know.
No way.
So
Either the best for last, or we should go to break.
Oh, that's not a bad start right there.
So yeah, so
Oh.
you'll be happy to know that they both fall into the oval category.
Mark and-
so
and-
Mark and
Joey.
Joey
Okay.
both fall
Okay.
into this category. So the oval face is really easy to recognize because it forms the general shape of an oval and is a lot softer than the oblong face. Good examples are Ryan Gosling and Jake Gyllenhaal as well falls into this category.
Good. So
Now-
far, so good.
We're good. Boom.
Now, I call the oval-faced man the family man. Actually,
I'll go with that. I'll go with
because you'll notice that his jaw is not as protruding as the oblong or square-faced man, which means he has less testosterone coursing through his veins.
Really? Oh, wow.
And in relationships, this
Okay,
can actually
ride this
be
one out.
a great thing because what this means is he's more likely to focus on high-quality social relationships, and for that reason, he can be more popular among his peers and able to better see both sides of any story. So for this reason, the oval-faced shaped man actually can be great in long-term relationships and can actually make a great father.
So wait, we had the cheater, the player, and the guy who gets away with everything, and then the two family men.
That's right.
Oh, I know.
You know, you're spot on about Mark, though. That's exactly the way he is.
Well,
No, it is.
I
You're a
compressed
wonderful
my head a little bit earlier
No,
today
it's
to get that
amazing.
shape that we
No,
were so
it's
designed.
amazing.
That's wonderful. You are invited back anytime you'd like to come
thank
back, I
you.
think. Right, Matt?
Oh yeah, she's invited back. The player.
Wonderful. Hey, let me ask you, real quick, what do we pair up with then now? What should women look for? Like, what personalities?
Yeah, what personalities? Well, I think first and foremost, it's important to realize that not every man is the same. Like, we all have different personalities based
Really?
on
You
our
noticed that?
upbringing. Yeah, we're all different. We have different upbringings. We have different educations and different family situations and all of that. So, obviously, don't use this as a one-stop guide to determining if this is someone you're going to date, because there are always exceptions, of course. And so, if you're a female and you're trying to win over, if you're going only based on maybe a photo of someone on an online dating site, if you're trying to win over a square or an oblong face-shaped man, I would
Yes.
recommend trying to win him over visually, because this man is a lot more likely to respond to visual stimuli. So I would recommend trying to wear red on a first date, because this is supposedly, well, actually, studies have shown that people who
Well, he
wear
has.
red.
He's all ready to go.
No, the woman
It's
wears red.
perfect. If the,
Yeah,
the woman
okay.
would wear red, because studies have shown that people who wear red on first dates are statistically more likely to be seen as visually attractive than people who don't wear red. Period. So if you're looking to win over a man with a very square jaw and high testosterone, wear red and look amazing on that date. And also, if you're trying to win over a round or an oval face-shaped man, it's better to focus on questions that relate to his relationships, because obviously this is typically something that he values more. So asking him about his upbringing and his
More
education,
depth.
his
You mean
friends.
he's kind of narcissistic then, maybe a little bit?
No.
Sorry, no. That's
Well,
not what it
focusing on some of his
Yeah,
family,
his
and
family,
his
yeah.
social relationships, because those men are more likely to be concerned about the social relationships and less likely to be able to respond to those visual cues right off the bat.
Can you, I know you don't have time to do it now, but do you read women's faces too? Can
I
you come back
absolutely
and do
do.
that for the rest of our
I
family
absolutely
members?
do.
I just
do
want
it?
to point out
Yeah.
the math behind reading our face is very simple.
It's very
It's like
simple.
a plus sign and maybe a minus in that.
Anybody can do
This
it.
gets a little complicated. Algorithms and there's
on it.
high-end algebra,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
You come back, please.
Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
It's interesting, the two of you.
More great
You're-
relationship
yeah.
advice from Kimberly. Be sure to follow her on her Twitter. Check her out at drkimberly.com. The information is there on the bottom of your screen.
And up next, Robbie La Riviera is going to show us how to shine from the inside out with the latest glitter hair trends.